What's going on, guys? Welcome back to WWE Network and Chill, where I, Graham G.S. and Matthews, break down all the original content I watch on the WWE Network, as well as on the E! Network, as today we're talking Season 6, Episode 9 of Total Bellas, entitled From Gynos to Winos. So this is the Season 6 finale of the show, and it kind of wraps up everything that we've seen up to this point in the season, from the JJ stuff, Brie and Nikki, Nikki and Artem. Kathy isn't really involved in this episode at all. She is on FaceTime at one point, but it really is a nice bow in what has been a chaotic season, a very chaotic 2020 for the Bellas and family and company. So the first thing that we hear about on the episode is Brie telling Nikki, just to be honest with Artem, about wanting to move, buying the new house, because we found out in the last episode that Nikki was house shopping without telling Artem, because he hasn't been home. Of course, he's been out filming for the latest season of Dancing with the Stars, and the communication hasn't really been that strong. So speaking of Brie, she, Brian, Birdie, and Buddy, I forgot the name of their new child, they arrive at their new home in Napa Valley, and she absolutely loves the house. And keep that in mind for when Nikki sees her house later, okay? Not Brie's house, but the house that she bought. So Nikki, she obviously isn't in a great place right now. She doesn't want to tell Artem how she feels about feeling lonely, feeling like a prisoner in her own home, because she doesn't want to ruin his time on Dancing with the Stars. You know, this is something that he's really, really wanted for a long time now, ever since he got booted from the show about a year or two ago. He's wanted this for a long time now. And she doesn't want to ruin his happiness, because she could see how happy this makes him just by watching the show and just by hearing him talk about it. Meanwhile, Brie has another issue. This is a really small subplot on the episode about how Brie really wants to move the whole family over to Napa Valley with them. It's not their dream, it's hers, but she wants Kathy there, Johnny with Kathy, maybe JJ. I forgot if she mentioned if she wants JJ and Lauren and their kids to move too, but definitely Kathy. Because Kathy had said in the last episode that she was bummed out that they were moving. Her daughters were moving away from her. Not really moving without her, but moving away from her, so they weren't all in the same place anymore. So Artem gets home from Dancing with the Stars, and he's only home very, very briefly. He's only there for like a day or so before he has to go back out and film. And that's when Nikki tells him, hey, I would like to stay over in Napa Valley until the season of the show is over, just because I feel really lonely here with Mateo. I don't have a lot of help taking care of him. You're never here. Brie and Brian are gone. I might as well just go over there until the season is over. And she mentions how she's gotten bored being at home, and how she feels like she's a prisoner, and how it's the same thing, that they do the same thing every time he comes home for like a day, in that they take care of the baby, they go out, they have dinner, they watch a show or something, they go to bed, and then he's gone. So she feels like she's kind of going through the motions at this point. So Nikki goes to visit Brie in Napa Valley. She ends up doing that. She ends up staying over there for a little while, until the Dancing with the Stars season is over, for the most part. She doesn't move there like full-time or anything, but she goes to visit Brie and Brian and whatever. And it wasn't the reaction that Brie was expecting when Nikki showed up, because she's exhausted, she's really, really tired, and for obvious reasons. I mean, she's taking care of a kid all on her own, and she has a million and one other things going on at the moment, so she's not exactly as excited as Brie was hoping she would be. So they meet up with JJ while they're there, and they're not, like, that far from where they moved from. They were in Phoenix, now they're in Napa Valley, California. It's a couple-hour flight. I don't think he drove there. He did catch a flight, because he said earlier, or rather later on in the episode, that he had to catch a flight home. So he probably just flew out there. They were spending some time together. And Nikki was really worried ahead of time that she wouldn't like the house, because she spent all this money. Definitely her biggest online purchase ever, she said. I mean, it's a house, so that would make sense. So she's really worried that she's not going to like it. And JJ's like, don't worry about it. If, Artem says, I told you so, who cares? We haven't even seen the thing yet, so don't worry about it. They go to check out the house, and it is a lot worse, in Nikki's view, than the Phoenix home, than when they first moved in there. It's move-in ready, Brie says, but it's not Nikki move-in ready. And Nikki believes she hates the house and that she made a huge mistake in buying it. So they go out drinking afterward. They pass by an open house for a house that's on sale that they think, specifically Brie, would be good for Kathy. They FaceTime her about it all drunk. They're drunk, not her. And she's like, no, don't call me. Leave me alone type of thing. I'm not going through this again. So Nikki admits to Brie they're having a heart-to-heart here. And she says to Brie, I feel like I hate Artem, and hate is a pretty strong word. I don't know if resent is a better word or more accurate, but she resents, hates Artem, whatever, for being happy. She sees him on the show, very, very happy, enjoying himself, doing what he loves, and she feels like she doesn't have that at all. She can't make him that happy. She's over here miserable. Brie says that, I think Nikki may have said this, but I know Brie mentioned this to Artem, because Artem feels like, Brie rather feels like she has to step in and talk to Artem about it. Because Brie told Nikki, you got to talk to Artem. You got to be open with him. You got to tell him what's going on. You got to tell him that you got diagnosed by your doctor for postpartum depression, And I don't think she says no that she won't, but she's going to do it on her own time. I don't really want to right now. I don't want to make him upset, blah, blah, blah. So then she interjects herself, and then she does it for her, which obviously she shouldn't have done. She overstepped her boundaries. So she calls up Artem and really wants him to pick up the pace. And she's not mean about it, and she really wants him to understand what Nikki is going through. And then that's when she tells him about the postpartum depression for Nikki and blah, blah, blah. Just to be aware of what's actually going on, because Nikki's not going to tell him herself. So Artem rather admits that he's frustrated with himself for not translating all the signs and for not realizing what's going on, or what's been going on sooner. And that's when Artem, while Nikki, Brie, and JJ are together, Artem texts Nikki, I'll quit the show if you want me to. And Nikki has no idea what's going on. She thought, did I get drunk yesterday and text him when I shouldn't have, or text him something really mean, blah, blah, blah. And Brie's like, well, I kind of interjected myself in the situation, gave him a call because I knew you wouldn't, and told him what was actually going on with you. Obviously, Nikki gets really, really upset, and rightfully so, that she walks off. So frustrated that she walks off in the middle of a walk out in the park or whatever. And Brie's like, well, I just care about you, and I just, you can't really put this stuff on hold, blah, blah, blah. And she's coming from a good place. But at the end of the day, it is a Nikki Artem situation that does not involve Brie. And JJ even takes Nikki's side and says, listen, it was very wrong of you to do that. And Brie admits that she overstepped her boundaries, and JJ kind of offers Nikki the male perspective about how Artem may not realize what's going on because we don't really go through the same thing that women do in terms of having kids, having that postpartum depression, blah, blah, blah. We don't really go through those same emotions, so I completely understand where he's coming from with that. But yeah, so Brie and Nikki, as expected, apologize to each other. Artem comes home on his day off to surprise Nikki and Mateo. She's like, did you quit the show? Did you get eliminated? What's going on here? And he's like, no, I didn't quit the show, but I came here to set things right. I had a day off. I figured instead of staying there, I would come visit you. So that's when Nikki admits to him that she really started to feel miserable after having the baby. Not about Mateo, but the fact that he was been gone and all this other stuff. And she talks about her body changing after having the kid. Very, some very deep stuff. Very relatable stuff, I'm sure, for a lot of different people. A lot of different newborn, new mothers and stuff like that. But yeah, she also says that she doesn't feel like she makes him happy because she sees him on this show, Dancing with the Stars, and very elated, very over the top, very happy, and she doesn't feel like she makes him happy. And, he expresses how he feels about her, makes everything a lot better, and they make up and they understand where the other person is coming from, and that's that. So Brie and Brian do yoga with Birdie to close out the episode, and that's when Brie tells Brian that she's not going to put any more pressure on any of their family members to go move to Napa with them, which is good, which Brian appreciates, because he doesn't want to move everyone over to Napa Valley with them. It's just not necessary. It's what Brie wants to do, not what necessarily they want to do, you know what I mean? And she talks about how she feels like she's learned a lot about boundaries and overstepping boundaries and setting boundaries, blah, 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 with a lot of different things in the last year. And she feels like she's found her place in Napa Valley. That's not everyone else's place. That's solely her place. And technically Brian's now. Now that he's moved there, it's really a Brie decision, but Brian's just going along for the ride. So at the very end of the episode, Artem brings home a Dancing with the Stars trophy for winning the season with his partner, which was really cool. He kind of reflects on his own journey and how if you told him a year ago that he would go from not even being on the show at all to not only then being brought back but winning the whole thing, he would have never believed you. And then Nikki recalls her own journey up to this point between being pregnant, the dissension with JJ, getting back on the same page, her own stuff with Brie, Kathy's, the brain stuff, the surgery that she had, the issues that she had with Artem, and now that all that stuff has since been worked out. And that's when she announces her new wedding date for Thanksgiving of 2021. I didn't think they got married. Someone told me recently, they got married. I didn't think they did. I know he proposed to her, but I kind of figured they didn't do the actual wedding yet. But it sounds like, unless something has changed since this was filmed, it's been set for Thanksgiving this coming year, which is cool. And then Nikki Bella says that she'll never forget 2020, which I think a lot of people can relate to. So a very, very good episode to close off what has been a very newsworthy season of Total Bellas for Season 6. Great stuff here. Check it out right now on the E! Network, from from Gynos to Winos, I believe is how you pronounce it. So check out the Season 6 finale right now over on the E! Network. And thank you guys for checking out these reviews as always. I appreciate it. Be sure to like the video, drop a comment, share the video, and subscribe to the channel for more daily content. Hit the bell button as well to be notified every time a new video goes up. And check out all my other Total Bellas reviews dating back to Season 2 right here in the channel in the description box down below. Moving forward, I'm not sure exactly what I'll be putting up on Fridays in place of the Total Bellas reviews. Maybe the WandaVision reviews. Usually we record those on Fridays. Maybe something else. I don't know yet, so stay tuned on that front as well. Have a great one, guys. Enjoy the weekend. I'm Graham G. Matthews, and I'll catch your ass down the road.